Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com. Today I have a couple of shaped valentines to share with you. I'm going to be using this stencil from Missing Stamps as well as this Have a Heart stamp set. I love that wooden heart. And then Pretty Bird, which I'm going to use this image and also one of the leaf stamps here. And then You're My Perfect Match I'm using from this stamp set. I'm going to pull all of these together to create a shaped heart valentine. And we're actually going to make two today. So this Have a Heart fits perfectly inside this heart die I have in my stash. And I'm going to use that and cut out 4 different hearts. I'm going to show you how we're going to put these together in cards. So first what I'm going to do is stamp the heart from that stamp set onto the die cut heart. And I'm using some thick 120-pound cardstock for this. It's going to hold up really nicely for this card. And then also I'm using some masking magic to stamp the heart on there as well. And then I'm going to cut that out to create a mask for this. This is a pretty simple design to cut out, and I wasn't too worried about really getting the edges perfect because basically I just want to cover up that heart so that we can stencil around it. Now I decided that this stencil was just a little too large in design for this particular card. I'm going to use it on the next card. So instead I pulled out this other stencil that has a smaller design on it, and this is what I'm going to ink around that wooden heart. Just using some red ink here, and I'm holding on that stencil, although it might have been better to hold that with a magnet, but I made it work and just kind of held it on there in the center while I inked around the edges. So there we go. There's our stenciled and stamped heart, and now I'm going to pull that mask off and we'll go ahead and color up and ink up the wooden heart. Now I did stamp this in a lighter color because it's going to look a little like a no-lined color outline of this wooden heart. I'm using a dark red Copic marker. This is the R59 to ink around the edges of the entire heart. So I'm just following the design here. That's all I'm doing, and there is a small outline edge to it. I'm going to just go around the entire thing here. For the next outline, I'm using a lighter color. This is the R46, I believe, and I'm coloring that in. So this is the only 2 parts I'm going to color in. I will ink the rest, so it's pretty quick, but I wanted that darker outline with the bright red along the outside. And then for the inside, I'm going to take the masking magic, the outline piece, and just put that around the edge so I don't get ink accidentally outside of the wooden heart. Now you really don't have to do this if you have a small blending brush like this, and I found that I didn't actually need that mask because I had plenty of room to get that inked up. Now I'm going to color up these sweetheart birds. Aren't they so cute? I'm using Copic markers and coloring them up in bright parrot colors, starting with the beak in yellow and a light orange, and then I'm going to go in with a dark blue. This B26 is one of the ones that always leaks on me or it creates spots, so I take off both ends of the Copic marker so that it doesn't make a big splotch in my coloring. So that's why I do that. It really tends to equalize that Copic marker out and helps it so I don't get any spots where I don't want them. I went in with the B28 to darken that up, and now I'm going in with a B24, and then I'll go in with an even lighter color. So I am using 4 shades of blue on this small little image, but I really do think it makes it pop. When you want to spend a little more time coloring, you can use 4 different shades and it gives you just a really great look. But I'm not going to use 4 shades for all of the colors that I use today, just the blue. I may use a few for the green as well, but this was the one I spend the most time on right here. So you can see as I kind of go over it with some of the darker colors, it really darkens it up, but there's some shadows and there's some lightness to it. It's really, really pretty. I'm going to use the blues for these feathers in the center here as well. and I will use all the shades. This is a really tiny area, so I'm trying really carefully to go in with all the colors. You can see this blue is really, really popping. I left this in because I do get a lot of requests to leave the coloring in my videos, but I'm only going to leave in just for this bird, just so you can see how this gets colored up. Now I'm going to go in with some greens for his belly and a little on his head as well. I have the YG05 and the YG03 here, and then I'll go in with an even lighter YG. I believe I go in with YG01. Let's see. Or YG00 here to blend that out to be the lightest shade. And I'll use some greens and yellows for the actual face on this bird, starting with the YG00 and then going in with the YG quadruple 0. I will add some more yellow to make this pop even more. And then for some reds, I'm going to pull that in for the rest of his wings. And the red will really pull this all together. I do use 2 shades of red here, but you could just use 1 if you wanted. We already have a lot of variation with the blues, so I just went easy on these other colors. And there's our parrot, so sweet, so cute. And I'm just going to fussy cut him out for our card. Oh, here you go. Here's where I add some extra yellow just for more drama. And then I'll blend that through a little bit with the Y00. There we go. And as you can see, I'm fussy cutting him very simply, trying to move my paper but keep my scissors pointed straight up. I find it helps when you try to keep your scissors a little bit in the same position and then just move the paper. It makes for a smoother cut, I find. So I wanted to show you that, but it's a pretty simple design. So there you go. What I did do on this first one though is I did cut out the center of those birds. I'm using just my X-Acto knife and a small cutting board to do this, but really I found you don't need to cut this out because I'm going to add a heart, and I actually like the way the second card turned out where I left the center in and added the heart on top. I think it created a better look, and you're going to see that in just a minute. So now I'm going to stamp out that sentiment. I stamped it using red ink on white cardstock. Now to create a little more shadow on this to make it look more 3D, I'm taking a C3 Copic marker, cool gray, and going around the entire outside of this heart. That just gives it a shadow and makes it look like it's even more popping out at you. To create the actual shaped card itself, we're going to take that extra heart that is just white and we're going to score the edge of it. So what I like to do is kind of line it up against the edge so it's straight and then score it at 1/2 inch mark. And this is going to give us a nice score line on the back of the card. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce that score line there, just like so, folding it back and forth so that the card will open easier. And then what I'm going to do is just place a bead of really strong glue across the top, just like this, and then we're going to glue those 2 hearts together, and that's going to create our card. This is a really great, easy way to create a shaped card. You can use any shape you want, but I want to make sure to let that dry fully before I open the card. So I'm going to place an acrylic block over the top until it dries. And now for the heart, I have some of this glitter paper that is beautiful. There's lots of different colors here, and that's what I'm going to cut the heart out of. I thought maybe a blue or a green heart would be great, so I cut it out of multiple colors, and I'm going to see which one I like the best. I'm using my tweezers to place this little bird duo here, and then I'm going to make sure there's enough room to put that sentiment right on there. I'm going to glue the sentiment directly down, just like so. And then I have to decide which color of heart is going to be the best. It was funny because I thought the blue kind of disappeared into the wings. The green didn't have enough pop for me. I did a red foam heart here. I liked that one okay, but it still kind of disappeared in the background. The white really pops and the black, but they didn't feel right to me. So I went for red glitter after all. I'm going to pop it up with 2 layers of foam tape, but I'm also going to add a little shadow in just a minute. I'm going to show you what I mean. I still felt like it didn't have enough pop to that heart, but look how cute this card is. Nice shaped Valentine. But here's where I decided it needed a little more pop for that heart to stand out. So I cut it in white as well, and I put a shadow against the bottom of the heart, and then I cut an extra white one and put the shadow on the top portion of the heart. This way there's kind of a white shadow all the way around, and it really helps that heart to make its appearance on this card. So you can see now why I wish I didn't cut out the center of the birds. I think it would have helped, and I may not have had to put that white shadow around. But there we go, there's that one. And now for our second one, I'm making this one very, very quickly because I already did all of the work mostly for this one. I colored the birds the same way, but for this one I'm going to take one of the hearts and add some Glitz glitter gel. I have this in red and I need to use it up for all my Valentines. So I thought today it would be really, really pretty on this one. I'm using the stencil that has more of the openings, more white space, so that it adds just a bit of the glitter in this really pretty design. I love this stencil. So I just added it through the stencil and I'm going to set that aside to dry while I finish coloring up the other images. There we go. So pretty with that glitter. That's going to look great on a shaped Valentine. All right, so let's put this card together. I've already let this dry. I've colored up our little duo and I already colored up some of the leaves, and I used some darker shades so that the parrots would really pop and the leaves would kind of fall into the background just as a supporting role. So there we go. I'm going to pop those birds up with foam. I've already added that heart too, and look, I didn't cut the center out. The inside is where the sentiment is going to go, and I used the Sunshine stamp set, or Sunshine and Happiness, I think it is. It says, "You make me happy when skies are gray." So I went ahead and white heat embossed that on some red cardstock, put that on the inside. So we have one with the sentiment on the outside and one with the sentiment on the inside. Both really fun designs. I really enjoyed making them. I hope you did too. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. And let me know if you are going to try a shape card or if you have already in the past. Thanks so much for stopping by. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.